Barbados is holding a snap general election this Wednesday after becoming the youngest republic in the world. From the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South, and I'm Katrina Goss. We begin in Barbados, where voters have been turning out to the polls all day for the first time since the Caribbean nation became the youngest republic in the world late last year. A total of 108 candidates representing 7 parties and 9 independents are competing for a seat in the House of Assembly. According to the Electoral Authority, both the Barbados Labour Party, led by Prime Minister Mia Mottley, and the Democratic Labour Party presented a list of 30 candidates, that is one for every constituency. On the other hand, the Alliance for Progress of Bishop Joseph Atherley nominated 20 candidates. The 3 are the leading political forces in the country. The Electoral and Boundaries Commission reported that just over 266,000 people are eligible to vote this January 19th. Over 3,000 electoral officials are on duty this Wednesday to ensure that the voting process runs smoothly, with protocols in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19. According to reports, voting in Wednesday's general election has been running smoothly across Barbados. Just over 92% of the Barbadian population is registered to vote in these polls. The election is widely seen as a contest between the ruling Barbados Labour Party, led by Prime Minister Mia Mottley, and the Democratic Labour Party, led by Violette de Peysa. Following strict biosecurity measures to avoid COVID-19 infection, incumbent Prime Minister Mia Mottley exercised her right to vote and called on the people to do the same.
We've been working in a systematic way across the island, across the constituencies. I'm a little concerned that our vote is not the Labour Party vote. It's still slow coming out, and therefore I'm going to be requesting that they redouble their efforts. Obviously, there are some concerns across the area with respect to different things, particularly with COVID or people coming out. But I believe that we have 5 hours, and as I said, this election is going to come to be recognized as perhaps one of the most important since independence, and it is in the people's hands to decide to do what they want to do.
The Prime Minister added that the COVID-19 protocols at polling stations are working well and encouraged the population to come out and exercise their right to vote.
Reports, I think, where there are no issues with respect to the COVID monitoring unit. All the protocols, you saw I sanitized 3 times in a short space of time, within 5 minutes. So clearly, they're very tight protocols, their temperatures being taken. So persons, I think, need not worry about that aspect of it. But I accept that some may be worried, and that's why I'm speaking to it now. There were 5 hours and 10 minutes still for people to come out and vote. And I would urge them to come out and vote, because failing to vote means that you might end up with a situation that you really didn't want. And we have to accept that we are responsible for our own destiny. And that is why the vote is so important. So what you do today determines what happens for the next 5 years.
Police Public Relations Officer Acting Inspector Rodney Innes said the voting process was proceeding without incident.
I've had the opportunity to visit at least 12 polling stations in the area of St. Philip, starting from Bailey's Primary School right away down to here we are at 6 Roads. And I've had the interaction with both the police officers. We have a police officer present at each and every one in polling station. They have all reported to me that everything is going smoothly, no incidents.
The Democratic Labour Party candidate for St. Michael Central said he was heartened by the turnout in his constituency, but remained concerned that long lines could deter some voters.
Turnout looks pretty good this morning. It's pretty early, and obviously folk trying to make sure they can vote before they go on to work. It has been a concern. It has been a concern to the point, Colvin, where every single time I mount to the platforms for the last couple of weeks, I've been just trying to get persons to understand that this is a COVID election. So the lines are really going to be longer than they're supposed to be, or you think that they should be. But we ask everyone, we encourage everyone to please be patient. We understand that you have to be sanitized, and you're sanitizing the polling booths every time one person is finished, even the pencils at times. So we're just trying to encourage everyone to be patient with the system, and let us do what we have to do and achieve the results that we want to achieve.
Christchurch East Central candidate for the Democratic Labour Party, Rashid Belgrave, said COVID rules were being correctly observed during election day.
Well, I would say that the COVID protocols are definitely in place. There are a lot of persons working in that area. In terms of persons coming into the polling station, there are some of them inside the polling station as well, which is good for health and safety. I know the prediction is that it may be a low turnout this election, but from the lines I'm seeing this morning, it really looks like persons are motivated to vote.
And as Barbados holds its general elections this Wednesday, let's take a look at how elections are carried out in the country and the parties that are standing candidates.
Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley announced this snap election on December 27th of 2021, just weeks after the country became a republic. The decision to hold early elections comes as Mottley enjoys a high approval rating and in the midst of plans to redraft the country's constitution in the wake of a transition to a republic last year. According to the Constitution of Barbados, elections must take place no later than every 5 years from the first sitting of Parliament. The previous general elections were held on May 24th of 2018, and the first sitting of a new session of Parliament was held on June 5th, 2018. A total of 108 candidates from 7 political parties and 9 independents will contest the elections. The Barbados Labour Party, founded in 1938, and the Democratic Labour Party, founded in 1955, are the main political parties in the country. The two have alternated in power since independence in 1966, with the Democratic Labour Party holding office 1966 to 1976, from 1986 to 1994, and from January 2008 to 2018. Meanwhile, the Barbados Labour Party governed from 1976 to 1986, from 1994 to 2008, and has formed a government from 2018 to the present day. Leading the Barbados Labour Party is current Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who is seeking re-election. Rivals for the post are Verla de la Pieza, leading the Democratic Labour Party, and the former leader of the opposition in the House of Assembly, Justice Adderley, representing the recently formed Alliance Party for Progress, an electoral alliance between the People's Party for Democracy and Development and the United Progressive Party. The 30 members of the House of Assembly are elected by first-past-the-post voting in single-member constituencies. All Barbadians 18 years of age or older are eligible to vote. Over 266,000 Barbadians are registered to vote this Wednesday. Turnout at election is usually above 60% of the electorate. The Electoral and Boundaries Commission is responsible for the registrations of voters, conduct of elections, and the delineation of constituency boundaries. Barbados is divided into 30 electoral districts or constituencies. Over the past 2 weekends, the Electoral and Boundaries Commission completed its training of over 3,500 electoral officials to operate within the pandemic, adhering to all COVID protocols outlined by the COVID Monitoring Unit for voting day.
And we'll be right back after this very short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Brazil concluded 2021 with a record number of indebted families, according to a recent survey by the National Confederation of Commerce of Goods, Services and Tourism. The study revealed that 3 out of 4 Brazilian families, that is 75.6%, were indebted during the past year, representing the highest percentage since January 2010. Over a quarter of families, 26.1%, are in debt or behind with their bills, and 1 in 10 says they cannot pay their debts. Inflation in Brazil has reached 10.6 percentage points, the highest rate since 2015. Colombia has seen a 7th massacre in less than a month as the violence shows no sign of ending. The latest victims were 3 men and a woman whose bodies were found by a family member in the municipality of Santo Domingo, located in the northwestern department of Antioquia. According to the local mayor, preliminary reports indicate that the victims were fleeing another municipality when they were killed. The last massacre to be reported in the department took place in October 2021, when 4 people were also murdered. According to the Institute for Development and Peace Studies, last year a total of 92 massacres were perpetrated in Colombia. Cuban authorities are preparing for the popular consultation process on the new Code of Families. The nationwide consultation process, in which more than 7 million Cubans have been called to participate, will be held from February to April of this year, with the purpose of allowing citizens to express their opinions on this important legislation. More than 900,000 people are involved in the organisation and development of the process, and over 12,000 electoral commissions have been created for the purpose. The new Code of Families seeks to bring legislation in this area in line with the country's new constitution and extend rights to all citizens and types of family existing in the country. The draft includes recognition of same-sex marriages and the possibility of same-sex couples to adopt, as well as improved rights for pregnant women, mothers and caregivers.
They will be work and simulate proposals as if they were the voters. They will transfer those proposals made by all of them, and it will be done by popular council. We will make only one proposal per popular council. We have an average of 7 to 10 constituencies per popular council. With our authorities, and well, we will introduce the computer system that is designed for that purpose.
Germany reported more than 100,000 coronavirus cases in a single day this Wednesday, a new record high. The Robert Koch Institute, the country's disease control agency, also confirmed 239 coronavirus-related fatalities. The number of people who are currently sick with COVID-19 climbed to more than 900,000, a new high in the current fifth wave. The highly contagious Omicron variant has been the driving force behind the new surge in cases. According to the Koch Institute's latest weekly report, the variant accounts for at least 73% of new infections in the country.
I've had 2 contacts over the past week, which have been positive. I'm doing this for myself and for a colleague who is going on a trip soon. It's just to get clarity. I'm doing very well, the kids are fine too, but they were both positive this morning after a rapid test. We are going to officially have that confirmed by a PCR test, with a lot of waiting time. But then they will have to be quarantined for at least 7 or 10 days. That means it will be difficult to work. Working from home and having children at home is not easy.
Romania saw a second day of high coronavirus infections on Wednesday, with official data showing more than 16,000 new cases. The highest record dates back to October last year, with nearly 19,000 new infections and around 500 deaths in one day. Romania, a European Union country with around 19.5 million, is the bloc's second lowest vaccinated nation against COVID-19, with approximately 40% of the population fully vaccinated. Experts blame widespread disinformation, strong distrust of government authorities and an ineffective national campaign among reasons for vaccine hesitancy.
There are very few people. It probably has to do with the lack of proper politics of the government. There is not enough mobilization of the population. I can't really say why so few people are here. These anti-vaccination influencers, probably all of these have this effect. People will come whenever they'll see fit, whenever they'll decide, like I did. They will come later, but it's never too late.
The Director General of the World Health Organization has warned that the COVID-19 pandemic is far from ending and expressed concern that Omicron is once again overstretching health systems.
Omicron continues to sweep the world. Last week, there were more than 18 million reported cases. The number of deaths remains stable for the moment, but we're concerned about the impact Omicron is having on already exhausted health workers and overburdened health systems. In some countries, cases seem to have peaked, which gives hope that the worst of this latest wave is done with, but no country is out of the woods yet. I remain particularly concerned about many countries that have low vaccination rates, as people are many times more at risk of severe illness and death if they're unvaccinated.
And we have more stories coming up after this final short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Israeli regime has demolished the home of another Palestinian family in the occupied East Jerusalem neighbourhood of Sheikh Jarrah. The moves to oust Palestinians from their homes and install more Jewish settlers in East Jerusalem has sparked international condemnation. Opposition to the impending eviction of other families from the neighbourhood in May last year was used by Israel as one of the excuses for its 11-day bombardment of the Gaza Strip. This Wednesday, Israeli police destroyed the home of the Sahir family, threatened with eviction since 2017. Hundreds of Palestinians face eviction from homes in Sheikh Jarrah and other East Jerusalem neighbourhoods. And Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki condemned the destruction of the house of a Palestinian family in East Jerusalem before the UN Security Council.
Israel pursues its relentless war against the Palestinian people on the ground. Today, before dawn, Israeli forces surrounded and raided the Salhiya family house in Sheikh Jarrah, violently uprooted them from their home, including children, throwing them out in the freezing cold, and arresting several members of the family and supporters before demolishing their homes, leaving behind despair and destruction.
The settlements are a major obstacle to peace. They are illegal under international law. Yet this construction and expansions has continued. Last night, another Palestinian family was evicted from their home in East Jerusalem. All settlement activity, the demolition and evictions must stop.
During a panel discussion on Monday, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov reiterated that Moscow has no intention of invading Ukraine. Sergei, who led the Russian delegation at the security talks with the United States in Geneva last week, dismissed the Western accusations, stressing that Moscow's deployment of troops in its own territory is a defensive move in the face of NATO encirclement. He made it clear that Western security guarantees are imperative. Amid the ongoing tensions, the US Secretary of State visited Ukraine on Wednesday to reassure it of Western support. Russia has demanded guarantees from the West that NATO will not expand to Ukraine or other former Soviet nations.
I do believe that there is no risk of a larger scale war to start to unfold in Europe or elsewhere. We do not want and will not take any action of aggressive character. We will not attack, strike, invade, quote unquote, whatever, Ukraine. We see the threat of Ukraine becoming ever more integrated in NATO without even acquiring a formal status of a NATO member state. This is something that goes right to the center of Russia's national security interests.
Russia's government has warned that the delay in the startup of the Nordstrom 2 pipeline is affecting the European community. Work on a pipeline that connects Russia, Central and Eastern Europe was completed on September 10th last year. However, the certification for its operation was suspended by Germany's Federal Network Agency and the project remains on hold. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov pointed out that the delay in beginning services is impacting on the European economy and consumers, especially in the face of rising gas prices. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has not ruled out the possibility of taking action against the project in the event an attack on Ukraine by Russia, thus repeating the Western allegations denied over and again by Moscow. Responding to this, Peskov recalled that Moscow's maneuvers are defensive, counteracting the constant build-up of NATO troops in Ukraine. China has denounced remarks by Slovenian leaders supporting Taiwan's independence in clear violation of the One China principle.
We have noted the dangerous remarks of Slovenia's leaders to blatantly challenge the One China principle and supported Taiwan independence. We were deeply shocked by and strongly opposed to this. I'd like to reiterate that there is but one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. The government of the People's Republic of China is the sole legitimate government representing the whole of China. The One China principle is the universally recognized norm governing international relations and the consensus of the international community, and also the political foundation of the China-Slovenia relations and China-Europe relations. China must be and will be reunified. No one should underestimate the strong resolve, the firm will, and the great ability of the Chinese people to defend their national sovereignty and territorial integrity.
And we've come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And you can also follow us on social media for all the latest news. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Telegram. For teleSUR English, I'm Katrina Goss. Thank you for watching.